Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to Tournament Central as we continue to bring you coverage of the 2023 PDGA Professional Disc Golf World Championships presented by L.L.Bean. Of course, we're out at Smuggler's Notch in Vermont, the site of the 2018 Worlds and home of the annual Green Mountain Championship. And I am once again your host, Dustin Murray, and once again joining me for some MPO coverage here on day 3 is none other than disc golf guy himself, Terry Miller. Now, Terry, I want to start this conversation off really broad about MPO because we essentially have 2 players in the lead at 18 under par. Then you have probably like 25 to 30 players who are only 4 or 5 strokes behind that lead. So how do you feel about the excitement of having such a wide open field for this Worlds right now?
First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Glad you guys are joining us here at the World Championships. And Dustin, I don't know if you could dream it up any better. The fact that we're seeing such a competitive field, everyone has now had one look at each course. Today is going to be their last look at the Brewster course before we head over and complete at Fox Meadows for the next 2 days. But the fact that we have so many close battles and couple of maybe unlikely people up at the top. Niklas Anttila, of course, up there in the lead, but knowing Grady Shue, and then we see a couple of our veterans there, just the diversity, the excitement, I don't know, if you could draw it up any better.
And also some crazy journeys to get there. Wysocki and Dickerson jumped up 66 spots yesterday to find themselves in that tie for third with Gannon and Redalen and Anthony Barella. So it has been a wild ride so far. But let's kick it off things with one of those leaders. That's going to be Grady Shue. His best finish this year coming into Worlds was 27th at the Preserve and some 30th place finishes at EDO and Idlewild. Hit a couple of top 15 finishes back in 2020, but largely has been inactive from the Disc Golf Pro Tour until this season. Yet, on the first day, he was able to shoot 6 under par to put him in a tie for 31st place. And he shot the hot round of the day yesterday at 12 under to put himself in the lead. We got to catch up with him after his round.
You got to just tell us what was clicking out there. I mean, what made that happen?
A lot of stuff, honestly. My putting was pretty solid. I could really depend on it out there. It was windy, but not really that many gusts. So, like, most of my putts were pretty calm conditions, so I never had anything too much to worry about. My drives were pretty good. Thankfully, I didn't have to go first on a lot of tee shots because my crowd mates were also playing super well, so I got to follow them a lot too. I mean, switching back and forth between the courses, people are used to throwing hard, and then they got to go pretty tight, pretty technical in the woods. So I'm looking forward to it. I had a lot of good practice. We got here, I think 6 days before the event, so I'm just really leaning on my practice a lot right now, and my shots are feeling pretty good, so that's nice. Yeah, I think it's been 3 years since the last time we played this event, but obviously Paige won here, so, she's pretty great to play with. So, her dad's here too, so that's pretty awesome. So we all are having a pretty good time. Maybe shoot a little bit better at Brewster. It was a little slow yesterday, and with the darkness and, having to wake up and come back to finish out. A couple of those finishing holes are pretty easy, and I was only able to get one of them. So hopefully I can, settle down a little bit better for tomorrow and have a couple more opportunities.
Yeah, Grady Shue was 100% from C1X yesterday and 67% from Circle 2. He went 8 down through the final 9 to find himself 1 stroke in the lead next to Niklas Anttila. And Terry Miller, again, this is not a guy we have seen on the tour or at Worlds often, at least within the last few years, right? Obviously, he had other things to focus on in life, but just kind of tell me a little bit about, Grady Shue, who he is, and what to expect for him the rest of the tournament.
Well, you have to certainly admire the vibes and the feels that he has out here, talking about his wife, of course, winning the World Championships here in 2018. You just saw the big smile on his face, loving the fact that he's here in contention 2 rounds through the World Championships. You mentioned the 100% C1X putting that he had yesterday. Let's back that up a day, and he had 100% C1X putting during the opening round out here at Brewster. There, he was also right around 50% from Circle 2. So his putting's been on through these last couple of days, and I'll go ahead and draw another similarity between him and the next guy we talk about in Niklas Anttila. They're so smooth, so fluid. When you watch them throw, it feels almost as if it's effortless. And so when you're in a controlled, tight space like you're going to find the fairways out here at Brewster, I think you're going to see some of that smoothness come through from Grady Shue here today. And he said he had to battle back after the break and coming back to finish out his first round. He didn't get as many birdies as he would have liked. Today, maybe he'll keep that momentum rolling throughout the entire day.
That is certainly something to keep an eye out on, and you already mentioned him, so let's talk about him. That's Niklas Anttila from Finland, of course, currently ranked 3rd in our tour standings and in the top 15 in the world rankings. Of course, he kind of made a name for himself last year, I feel like, when he came 2nd at the USDGC and 4th at the European Open, so had some really big finishes at majors and also made it all the way to the semifinals in our tour championship. This season, he once again did well at the majors, taking a 2nd at Champions Cup, had a couple of other top 15 finishes on tour and a 6th at Texas States. He also won some events over in Europe at Kona Piste in the Finnish Nationals, and now he finds himself with a share of the lead, and we got to catch up with him after his day.
I don't know, I just love this place. It's like almost made for my style of golf, and you just need to be on the fairway and make your putts, and that's all that matters here. So my throwing was really good. The putting was the only issue this morning and yesterday, so if I can throw the same way and make my putts, I will at least be close to a double-digit round as well. At the moment, I don't really care about the lead because it's still like 3 rounds left. Just trying to focus on myself and do what I do best, and that way I can be successful.
And those are some words from one of our leaders, Niklas Anttila. He shot 7 under par the opening round over at Brewster. And then yesterday was 1 stroke off the pace of shooting the hot round. It happened on 18 where he took the bogey, but still shoots 11 under par, still finds himself, with a shared lead with Grady Shue, and definitely a phenomenal talent. What are you expecting to see out there from him today on his return to Brewster?
What I found interesting here about that is him talking about his putting, and then you look at his statistics. I believe he was 100% from C1X. If that's not a solid putting day, I don't know what is. So I don't know if he thinks he can improve upon 100%. He was just 33% from Circle 2, so maybe that's the reference that he was looking for. But, man, those are some high, lofty goals when you're talking about those percentages and the score that he had out there, the 1 blemish. He did have a slightly better round than what we saw from Grady during round 1 out here at Brewster. He shot a 7 under. I feel like 7 under is almost the minimum in which we need to see competitors leave this course with today. If you're shooting less than that, you're going to lose ground to some of our front runners and some of our leaders. So if he has a similar round or better, I think he's going to be really happy with his efforts out here today.
Yeah, just for reference, the new course record at this new layout at Brewster is 12 under, set by Chris Clemens on day 1. Prior to that, it was 13 under, the old record by Conrad. But most people were shooting about 9, 8, 7 under, just as you said, the first day that were, kind of towards the top end of the leaderboard. So I think that's a fair number to kind of put down. But let's talk about some of our players who sit in 3rd, just 1 stroke off the lead. And the first one we're going to talk about is Ricky Wysocki. Of course, he is a 2-time world champion, and he is currently ranked 5th in our tour standings and 5th in the UDIS World Rankings. We know that Lyme disease has at times caused him some issues this year, but he still had a big win at the Preserve Championship and had some top 5 finishes recently at Ledgestone and the PCS Open. Had kind of a tough first round. He was one of those guys that had to come back and finish off round 1, yesterday, early in the morning, shooting 5 under par, but really brought it back during that 2nd round at Fox Run, shooting a clean 12 under par to tie the hot round of the day, and we got to catch up with him after that round.
Felt great. Kept it clean. I think Fox Run, for me, it seems like the easier course to score on. Brewster's playing challenging, and I was just able to get on a run, and I think I took full advantage of it. I think that the rounds like I had today, I definitely got to take advantage of them if you want to get yourself in the hunt and give yourself a chance to win, and I feel like I did a great job of that. Like I said, I talk about momentum, and I think that's what kept my round going, kept it clean, and allowed me to score as well as I did. Playing 2 rounds on the feature card with the cameras, I felt like I play well under the pressure, and I think that just kind of reminded me, hey, I know I can play well under the pressure, and I think that that's something that I could thrive in. I think that just seeing what seeing what the leaders do is a huge thing, setting the pace of the tournament, and obviously it's going to be round 3, but it's going to be a big round as far as placement going into round 4.
You shot a 5 under. What are you looking to improve upon there?
Yeah, I think that. I'm looking to shoot a 9, 10 under. You can shoot a 12, 13 under out there, but if I just shoot a 9 to 10 under, I play Fox really well, and I'm really confident out there. And so, like I said, I'm trying to shoot my round, shoot my 9, 10, 11 under, something like that is the number I'm shooting for, and I feel like that's totally manageable without taking on too much risk. and then it's game on at Fox. There's lots of birdies to be had, as I showed today, and I'm here to prove that for round 4 and 5 at Fox and round 3 tomorrow.
He certainly did have plenty of birdies, Terry. It was enough to jump him up 66 spots between round 1 and round 2 to find himself in a tie for 3rd position. And again, Terry, this is also a man who has had success at GMC in the past. He was our champion last year on this property, and he was our runner-up in 2021 and had a podium finish in 2020. So definitely no stranger to success out here. Kind of what are your expectations for Ricky Wysocki as we start hitting the back half of this Worlds?
Something that I found very interesting about his putting, he was 100% yesterday, but when you from C1X, but you look at Brewster in round number 1, just 14% from C2. Yesterday he was 80%. So quite the flip-flop for the 2 different rounds that he's had. Now, he also found a little bit of trouble during round number 1 out here at Brewster. However, Ricky prides himself in being one of the best scramblers in the game. He's very comfortable. Anytime he gets out of position, he can obviously rely on the forehand, and he's got rollers, forehand, backhand. He really has every shot that you could possibly want. And if you're just a bit off out here at Brewster, you can get punished. But when you're Ricky Wysocki, the scramble game is on another level. So you have to give a huge advantage out there to Wysocki in terms of what he can do today. And we know it. He's almost already looking forward to the Fox Run Meadows course. He's got to get through today first, carry some of that momentum, and then we'll see what he can do on the last 2 days. But he's going to have a good day out here. I'm calling it already.
All right, I hear you. Another man who could have a good day today is the Limestone Laser himself out in the woods, and that's going to be Chris Dickerson. Of course, you know, he is in kind of a similar boat to Ricky Wysocki in the sense that he had a little bit of a cold start, you know, during the opening round, but was able to really battle back during day 2. He himself shot a 12 under par, and that was despite 2 bogeys. The man didn't find his first par until hole 14. It was a wild ride from Dickerson. We got to catch up with him after it was all said and done.
I felt like I played pretty well the second round. I had to come back out here at 7:45 this morning to finish the last, I think, 6 holes or so. Managed to get, I think, 2 under for my morning round. And, yeah, I think I came back out in the evening and played quite a bit better than I did yesterday and this morning. I didn't think about any pars or whatever score I was getting, like, overall. It was just what score I was taking on the hole at the moment.
Clearly a lot of golf left, but you find yourself on the lead card going into the 3rd round. How does that matter to you mentally as opposed to being on the top of the chase?
It doesn't matter to me, honestly. One spot or the other, it's the same score, right? I'm at 17, they're at 17. It doesn't matter.
And that were some words from Chris Dickerson, a guy who had a little bit of a slow start this season, but did really well at the European Open, finding a top 10 finish there as well as at Ledgestone. Also, he's fresh off a 3rd place finish at D-Glow. And this is a guy who has also found success in the past at GMC. He was our 2021 GMC champion and came 2nd to Ricky Wysocki last year. And again, just another guy who jumped up 66 spots yesterday to find himself in 3rd after a fantastic second round over at Fox Run. What did you see from him, Terry, as you were following that card, and kind of what do you expect going forward?
Well, typically you don't see a ton of emotion come out of Chris Dickerson. He kind of just maintains, he stays within his lane, so to speak, and keeps everything in check. That was the case yesterday, even though he was stringing together a bunch of the birdies, and then when he did get derailed from the birdie train just for a moment, he would turn around and bounce right back on the very next hole, and he came back with those birdies, and you saw him push that all the way through hole 14, and not even realizing it, not thinking about it, is also says something about your mental fortitude, not letting things creep into your mind about, you know, either the bad shots you've had or get too far ahead of yourself or excited about the shots that, you know, did go well for you. So that's all really impressive and not a big surprise out of Chris Dickerson. As you mentioned, he's found success out here. You know that he loves both of these courses. He too, incredible scramble game anytime he's out there, and I look forward to him having another good round out here. Every player's momentum slowed. Some handled it better than others, but every single player that came back out that next morning during round number 1 into the 2nd day, you saw that they didn't necessarily get on fire, and Chris was one of those guys. Again, maybe he carries that momentum throughout the rest of the round, and the story is a little different, and we might see a double-digit round if that's the case.
Certainly possible. I wouldn't put it past Dickerson to put out a big number at Brewster. Definitely known for his shot shaping in the woods as he, again, finds himself just one stroke off the lead in that tie for third. Now, speaking of a tie for third, we have a few more players that are right there next to Dickerson and Ricky Wysocki in that very same position. We will hear from them, as well as from a man from the B pool who has made his way onto the chase card, and more after we come back from the break.
We're ready when you are. Come, discover Vermont.
When you first sign up for a PDGA membership, you're given a PDGA number. Your PDGA number is a stamp for when you got involved in the sport. It's a badge of pride for players and a part of your disc golf identity. Get your number today. Visit pdga.com/join.
This is Latitude 64. The smallest of grains handled with the greatest passion. Always trying to improve, always trying to be better. Out of curiosity, excitement, thrill. For the player and the sport. Because we want to make disc golf awesome for you.
Nice Valley, Montana, with my family. When we were bored, my parents would just be like, go outside. That's where memories are made. It's such a part of childhood that I feel like is being lost today, and I have desperately tried to instill that into my kids.
16 was my first bogey of the event so far, and it was a dead center spit out from about 25 feet, so I felt like I did nothing wrong. And to basically be playing bogey-free golf so far in the world is amazing, and with all the out of bounds that's out here, I played really overstable and really just kind of focused a lot on my game plan, and not going for too much, because you can really break these holes down. You got 1,000-foot par fives, you can break them down 300, 400 or something like that. So yeah, just staying in bounds, not giving away stupid strokes. Putting's been I've missed with the spit out 4 circle ones already this tournament, so I could be in the lead by a good bit right now if I just putted a little bit better. So I think that could be a good sign, though, if I keep throwing the disc the way I am. Maybe down the stretch, I feel like I will heat up with the putter a little bit.
Put up 7 down at Brewster. I mean, what else can you do out there?
Yeah, my 7 down was I missed 3 circle ones that were like 25 feet, so they kind of I feel like I definitely could have got the 10 down right there. But yeah, I think Brewster, it's really important to kind of start hot. So like a 7 through 11 start or something like that. Obviously, it's important at every course, but I feel like especially in the woods, there's a couple of holes coming down the stretch at Brewster that are pretty punishing if you don't throw a good tee shot. It can definitely be 2-stroke swings, and with OB in the woods, anything can happen if you miss your line by just a little bit. So I'm very proud of myself for kind of staying in it. That was my goal, is to be in contention the whole time, and obviously we're only 2/5 of the way done with this tournament, but I think I can perchance give myself the chance for making lead card the next couple days.
I mean, my goal through 2 rounds out here was 15 under, and so I'm at 17 right now. I beat my goal on Brewster by 1, and I beat my goal for Fox today by 1. So feeling pretty good, hitting the game plan. I feel like I got a really good game plan for both courses. My discs and shot shapes fit really well for these holes, so I'm excited to keep going. I'm just trying to control the mental state. That's all you can do during this week. It's a stressful week for everybody, but at the same time, I'm pretty happy with how calm I feel at the moment. And again, I've said it, I'll keep saying it again, I'm not here to be hasty about anything. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm just thankful to be putting down some good rounds so far.
Honestly, just felt like another first round again, so after the shuffle it's going to get a little more serious, but I'm confident in my throw to keep it rolling.
Back to Brewster, 10 down there yesterday. Anything you want to tweak, adjust, or are you pretty happy with that?
Just want to start hot again. That's the key to getting through those first 7-ish holes, and then just battle out in the finish.
And those were words from our other players sitting in third place and just one stroke off of our two leaders. We'll start with Gannon Buhr, Terry. This is a guy who, of course, made waves last year winning USDGC. He's ranked within the top 5 in the world and within our DGCP standings. He also already has 5 wins this season, including 3 elite wins, as well as 3 additional podium finishes. And one thing that I've kind of noticed about Gannon Buhr throughout this year, Terry, is that he's the type of guy that if he gets a hot start, he's either winning the event or making the podium bare minimum. Every event this year that he has won or podiumed, he's been within 1 or 2 strokes of the lead within the first couple of rounds, and he is basically on that exact same pace right now after a massive day 2 out at Fox Run. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your expectations for Buhr as we head into the back half of this tournament?
Get off to a good start. I go all the way back to a Ledgestone where I saw him in a parking lot at the Fly Mart. He's like, woohoo, I made the cut. And I'm like, what? So that was one of those situations where he had dug himself a hole, and then to hear him be excited about making the cut sounds crazy to me because, as you just said, he's also won 5 events this year. But really, he just told us what he needs to do. He needs to clean up the putting. He said he missed a few during that very first round. He did have the one spit, which he clearly wasn't taking too much concern of, but he just needs to clean up his putting. I think his round 1 putting out here at Brewster was 71% or 77%, somewhere in the mid 70s. So not what you would expect to see from Gannon. And if he can get that putting clean up, if he can get off to the good start, as you said, clearly he's going to be dangerous. And that'll just kind of drive home the next point, which is we saw it in the opening round feature cards. You can get off to a really hot start on this course. That's exactly what our entire feature card did during round number 1. They eventually stalled out and then had a break. But a hot start at Brewster is paramount to carrying you through as you're going to head over to Fox Run tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you're spot on about the putting. I mean, especially with Buhr, this guy's number 1 in the field for Circle 2 putting for the year at 43%. He's one of the best in C1X as well. So I think cleaning up the putting will be key for him, as you said. Now, moving on, we have to talk about Cole Redalen. This is a guy who's ranked within the top 10 in the world, as well as within the top 10 in our tour standings. Had the podium early this season over at Waco and some other top 15 finishes kind of surrounding it. But I think the big thing for him is that he was able to find the podium again at the OTB Open and the Preserve, and he also got his first win quickly after that at Ledgestone and just saw the podium again at D-Glow heading into this Worlds event. I mean, it seems like this kid is peaking at just the right time, and he's playing some great golf already this Worlds, Terry, only 1 stroke behind the lead.
There is no better time to hit your stride than right now as we're heading into the World Championships. Of course, then we're going to have USDGC not too far out and the Pro Tour Championships. So if you're fresh and ready to go, you're going to be in business. And I know I talked about it earlier with Grady Shue, Niklas Anttila. I love watching Cole throw because the form is so pure. And so today when he's going to be out there, if he's lacing those fairways, he makes it look effortless. It should be a pleasure to watch to see how he pushes himself through this Brewster Ridge course. Very tight corridor. He has almost a compact run-up and stroke and swing that I said looks effortless. And if all of that is clicking, he's going to be able to put up a solid score out here at Brewster today.
I couldn't agree with you more, Terry. As we move on to our final member of the tie for third place, that's going to be Anthony Barella, currently sitting 7th in our tour standings. He got hot quick this year with a couple of second-place finishes at Texas State and the Music City Open. Recently, he finished in the top 10 at D-Glow and the European Open, as well as a few other tournaments leading up to Worlds. He is playing some great golf right now. I think he's around the 92% mark from C1X. He's well over 50% from Circle 2, and he's putting together some great golf. And we know AB has tons of talent. It's just about holding on and closing, I think, has been the big storyline surrounding him throughout the year, so he can finally get that big win. Terry, what are your thoughts about AB as we head into this third round?
Yeah, AB will have to kind of push all of that noise out because that's been part of his story so far in his relatively short career, is that he's got all the skills, all the talent in the world, but he hasn't found a way to close out at a big event. He's still seeking that first Elite Series. He, of course, was very close to it at the major, at the European Open, so he needs to just basically block out that noise, whether that's you and I or anyone else out there, supporters and otherwise. He needs to just kind of hush that and find it within himself. The putting is sometimes what lets him down. Sometimes it feels almost as if he's succumb to some pressures as the tournament goes on. So I'm not too worried about what we're going to see from him out there today. I think he'll put up another solid round. It's just a matter of him continuing to build on that. And then I think like a Wysocki, as he gets out to a course that maybe he enjoys a little more on the Fox Run course, I think he'll find more comfort out there. And I'm excited to see how he'll be able to close it out. But AB's ready to quiet all of us who are saying, when is he going to break through? When is he going to get that big win? It might be right here at the World Championships.
Yeah, I mean, we were asking that same question about Cole Redalen and Gannon Buhr not that long ago, and they found them. You know, and for AB, it does seem like a matter of when, not if. And it could very well be, you know, in the next couple of days. But very quickly, I just wanted to mention our final member of the chase car. It's going to be Raven Newsom, who's making a bit of a dark horse run, as prior to this, his best finish this season was 36 at Texas State, but he has run through the B pool, shooting 9 under par at Fox Run and then 7 under at Brewster to find himself just 2 strokes off the lead. So wanted to give him a shout out. We'll see some golf from him throughout the day on the chase car. But one final thing I wanted to talk about with you, Terry, while I had you here, was about Paul McBeth, because, of course, he is our reigning world champion, 6 world titles, looking for his 7th. He's only about 5 or 6 strokes off the lead right now. His round has just gotten underway out on Brewster. I'm sure we'll see some coverage from him as well. I know you got to speak with him this morning. Can you share some insights you got from the reigning world champ?
Yeah, I actually was able to share one of the shuttle rides heading over from Smugs over to the course. I happened just to be getting on at the same time as him and his caddy. You've seen him out there with Jeff Corns. I have to say happy birthday to Jeff Corns, who's been on the bag. I said, what is that going to mean for you guys out there today? And I said to Jeff, does your player need to do something special? And Paul said, oh, well, yeah, in that case, I'm going to have to put something together. He had one of his hottest rounds of Worlds last year during Jeff's birthday in his 2022 run. So maybe they'll take some of those vibes. But Paul was showing me a bruise on his shoulder because he's been getting worked on. He's still not anywhere near 100%. In fact, one of the things he told me, he said, if he had the choice, it would have been another 2 to 4 weeks before they were actually going to have him throwing again. So obviously he had to just deal with it, so to speak, and then come into the World Championships. But he said he isn't even at a point of rehabbing his shoulder just yet. It's still in a matter of getting it healed to then start looking at some of the rehab. So Paul is in some pain. We'll see what he can do. He says it was the touch forehands, similar to what we heard from Adam Hammes. The touch forehands are when he really struggles due to the shoulder being elevated up above a horizontal plane. So if he can limit those, he might be able to limit the mistakes.
All right. Well, Terry Miller, I appreciate you so much for all the insights, especially the McBeth stuff. That's always good to be able to hear from the players and kind of what they're feeling, what they're thinking, because, again, it's a wide-open race right now for the title. So many players are just within a handful of strokes of the lead. Not much separation to be had out there so far. You take one final look at the leaderboard. You can see what I'm talking about. It is all hands on deck as we will let Terry go, and we'll hear from him throughout the course today from our commentators. But before we pass it off to the booth and we get the MPO action underway for our lead and chase cards, we wanted to leave you with a little bit of something special from our man Luke Humphreys, who hit an ace today on his round.
The one tree. Thank you. Go in. Go in. Yeah! Let's go! Let's go, Luke. Is it in? It's in. Let's go. No. Oh, yeah. Wow. Let's go. Thank you, man. That's for you right there.